Beyond academics, Putin found solace and purpose in martial arts. He joined the KGB in 1975 after graduating with a law degree from Leningrad State University. His KGB service took him to East Germany, where he served as an intelligence officer in Dresden. Section 5, the Putin presidency. Reforms, control, and growing influence. Authority in the Kremlin and reining in the oligarchs who had amassed vast wealth and influence in the 1990s. Section 6, a centralized Russia consolidation of power and silencing dissent. Section 7, the annexation of Crimea and the war in Ukraine, asserting dominance on the world stage. Section 8, a legacy marred by controversy, allegations of corruption and human rights abuses. Section 9, the enigma of Vladimir Putin, a complex figure on the world stage. Section 10, Putin's enduring impact, shaping Russia and the global order. Vladimir Vladimirovich Putin was born in Leningrad on October 7, 1952. His childhood was humble, marked by the hardships of post-war Leningrad. He grew up in a communal apartment, a common living arrangement in Soviet Russia. His parents, Vladimir Spiridonovich Putin and Maria Ivanovna Shalomova, were working-class citizens. They had endured the siege of Leningrad, a brutal period during World War II. This experience left an indelible mark on the young Putin, shaping his worldview and future ambitions. Life in Leningrad was challenging. The city bore the scars of war, and resources were limited. Despite the difficulties, Putin showed academic promise. He excelled in his studies, displaying a sharp mind and a thirst for knowledge. He developed a keen interest in history and German, languages that would later prove useful in his career. His childhood experiences instilled in him a deep sense of patriotism and a desire to see Russia regain its former glory. Beyond academics, Putin found solace and purpose in martial arts. He gravitated towards judo, a discipline that emphasized discipline, respect, and self-defense. He trained rigorously, pushing himself to excel in the sport. The values he learned on the judo mat, perseverance, strategic thinking, and a never-give-up attitude, would become defining characteristics. His dedication to judo was not merely a hobby. It was a formative experience that shaped his character and prepared him for the challenges that lay ahead. Judo instilled in him a sense of self-confidence and the ability to strategize under pressure. He rose through the ranks, earning a black belt and competing at a high level. His martial arts training was not just about physical prowess, it was about mental fortitude and the ability to outmaneuver opponents. These skills would serve him well in the world of intelligence and later in the political arena. Putin's early ambition was to serve his country. He set his sights on a career in the KGB, the Soviet Union's intelligence agency. He joined the KGB in 1975 after graduating with a law degree from Leningrad State University. He underwent rigorous training, learning the intricacies of intelligence gathering and analysis. He honed his skills in observation, information gathering, and strategic thinking, becoming a valuable asset to the organization. His KGB service took him to East Germany, where he served as an intelligence officer in Dresden. He witnessed firsthand the political dynamics of the Cold War, observing the tensions between East and West, the fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989, and the subsequent collapse of the Soviet Union were pivotal events that deeply impacted his worldview. These experiences fueled his belief in a strong Russia and a desire to restore the country to its former glory. The collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991 marked a turning point in Putin's life. He returned to Russia and entered politics, joining the administration of Anatoly Sobchak, the mayor of St. Petersburg. He quickly rose through the ranks, demonstrating his political acumen and administrative skills. His ability to navigate the turbulent political landscape of post-Soviet Russia earned him recognition and paved the way for his ascent to power. In 1996, Putin moved to Moscow, taking up a position in President Boris Yeltsin's administration. He served in various roles, including head of the Federal Security Service, FSB, the successor to the KGB. His intelligence background and reputation for efficiency made him a trusted figure in Yeltsin's inner circle. When Yeltsin resigned in 1999, he appointed Putin as acting president. This unexpected turn of events thrust Putin into the national spotlight, setting the stage for his remarkable rise to power. Section 5, the Putin presidency. Reforms, control, and growing influence. Putin won the 2000 presidential election, ushering in an era of stability and economic growth for Russia. He implemented economic reforms, stabilizing the ruble and attracting foreign investment. He consolidated power, centralizing authority in the Kremlin and reining in the oligarchs who had amassed vast wealth and influence in the 1990s. His leadership style, characterized by decisiveness and a focus on national interests, resonated with many Russians who yearned for a strong leader after years of turmoil. He prioritized restoring Russia's global standing, asserting the country's influence on the world stage. He rebuilt the military, modernized infrastructure, and pursued an assertive foreign policy. His actions challenged the post-Cold War order, signaling Russia's re-emergence as a major player in international affairs. Section 6. A centralized Russia consolidation of power and silencing dissent. Putin's tenure has been marked by increasing centralization of power and a crackdown on dissent. He has amended the constitution, extending presidential terms and consolidating his grip on the levers of power. Independent media outlets have faced pressure and censorship, limiting freedom of expression and shaping public opinion. Opposition figures have been silenced, jailed, or forced into exile, creating an environment of fear and self-censorship. This consolidation of power has drawn criticism from human rights groups and Western governments. Critics argue that Putin's actions have eroded democratic institutions and created an authoritarian system in Russia. They point to the lack of free and fair elections, the persecution of political opponents, and the suppression of independent media as evidence of a slide towards authoritarianism. Section 7. The annexation of Crimea and the war in Ukraine, asserting dominance on the world stage. Putin's Russia has taken an increasingly assertive stance on the world stage. The annexation of Crimea in 2014 and the subsequent support for separatists in eastern Ukraine marked a turning point in relations with the West. Russia's military interventions in Syria, in support of President Bashar al-Assad, further demonstrated Putin's willingness to project military power beyond Russia's borders. These actions have been met with condemnation and sanctions from Western countries. Putin has defended his actions as necessary to protect Russia's national interests and to counter what he perceives as Western encroachment. He has accused the West of hypocrisy and double standards, pointing to NATO expansion and Western interventions in the Middle East. The annexation of Crimea, in particular, was popular among many Russians who saw it as righting a historical wrong. Section 8. A legacy marred by controversy, allegations of corruption and human rights abuses. Putin's rule has been dogged by allegations of corruption and human rights abuses. Critics accuse him of enriching himself and his cronies while silencing opposition and suppressing dissent. The poisoning of Alexander Litvinenko, a former KGB officer turned critic in London in 2006, and the attempted poisoning of Alexei Navalny, a prominent opposition leader in 2020, have further fueled accusations of state-sponsored violence against Putin's opponents. The Kremlin has denied any involvement in these incidents, dismissing the allegations as politically motivated. However, the evidence presented in both cases, along with a pattern of silencing critics, has cast a shadow over Putin's rule. These controversies have tarnished Russia's image on the world stage and led to calls for accountability and justice. Section 9. The enigma of Vladimir Putin, a complex figure on the world stage. Vladimir Putin remains a complex and enigmatic figure, both admired and feared on the world stage. His supporters view him as a strong leader who restored Russia's pride and influence after the chaos of the 1990s. They point to his economic achievements, his assertive foreign policy, and his ability to stand up to the West. His detractors see him as an autocrat who has dismantled democratic institutions and violated human rights. They criticize his crackdown on dissent, his aggressive foreign policy, and his alleged corruption. Understanding Putin's motivations and worldview is crucial for navigating the complex relationship between Russia and the West. His actions have implications for global security, energy markets, and the future of democracy. Section 10. Putin's enduring impact, shaping Russia and the global order. Vladimir Putin's legacy will be debated for years to come. He has left an indelible mark on Russia, transforming the country into a more assertive and authoritarian state. His actions have also reshaped the global order, challenging the post-Cold War consensus and ushering in an era of renewed great power competition. His leadership has been marked by a mix of achievements and controversies, leaving behind a complex and contradictory legacy. Only time will tell how his rule will be ultimately judged by history.